And welcome back to the SuperCoach Experience Sunday Wrap Podcast. I'm your host, Mikey, the coach of Trip Jacket Mafia, as you can see below the screen here, nice and set up this week. And Jake's late scratching today, busy. His turn to have one off, but the ever-reliable and the currently ranked number 27th, the Savage Burbos. How are you, Savs?
Very good. Pretty good week of footy. Can't complain.
Yeah, another interesting week. Another week where, some would have had some really poor weeks, some would have had good, but it looks a bit more of a higher averaging scoring round. A lot of scores between the 11 to 1,300, and I'd say par. I know we don't like really talking about par, but I definitely think you want to be hitting around that 1,100, closer to 1,200 mark. As you can see, both of our scores there, pre-updates of this last game, 12.19 for me, 12.04 for Savs. With my side, I changed SJ to Hughes last minute on the Friday, which cost me 50 points, cost me 50K extra too, and he downdated to 47. A little bit pissed off with it, but hopefully long-term it's a better trade. I was scared off by the SJ niggle, and I really didn't think he was going to kick goals, and he scored basically all his points at the very end. He was on a low, which is good for owners, but I was a bit spewing. But it is what it is. I've done the extra 50, so like I spent the extra 50K knowing that's not going to stuff my plans this week. But yeah, happy with 12.19 at my rank of just outside 10K. I should move comfortably in it, so I'm heading up the right way. And Savs, I think that's a fairly good score for your rank.
Well, there's a comment here from Evan Burnett. How many spots do you reckon Savs drops? I'm actually looking around at the top kind of 1%, and I think I actually go up, to be honest.
I think you go into the top 20. Like 12.04 isn't that bad for this round. Yeah, there might be some whoppers, but how many's in that top echelon? Like that's enough to hold strong. If you lost spots, you're losing 5 to 10. There's no way you go out of the top 50 with that score.
No way.
And the fact that you managed to score that with a subpar captain of 60, luckily there wasn't massive captain scores this week. Like, to be honest with you, looking at it now, like a loop of Joey Manu, if you had Joey Manu, would have been a really good play. But you used your last boost.
I'm out of boost. Yes, I am out of boost. I was going to use it next week anyway on Iro, but when I saw the news that Strange might be out, I was pretty keen on getting Iro and playing him anyway. So got him in. So let's hope he gets named next week. Not happy about it because Schiller got 65 and left 20 points on the table. So that could be the difference between, a couple spots for me. But at this point in the season, it doesn't really matter. I was planning on using it next week anyway. And I was getting, my plan was to get Talangi out anyway. If Talangi gets named and Ira doesn't next week, that is going to be a kick in the dick.
Yeah, that's the risky part you're playing, and I think at your high rank, the trades are going to be so valuable later. But hey, man, you're in a better spot than most of us, so I trust you. Before we pump through the rounds like we normally do, early trade thoughts. So I know you said just then that you were going to boost. What are you kind of looking at pre-TLT?
Looking at Drinky to Turbo, and that banks 100K. That'll give me 160K. I think he may be Fini Furiaki. Maybe
updated to 47.
Yeah, I was actually very happy with that. Maybe to Gus. I need to get a center wing in though, but I don't think I can afford any. So maybe I just use the one trade, just depending on whether I want to play these Canberra guys. But yeah,
you have a tougher matchup this week. I'm pretty sure they have someone like Brisbane. Could be wrong. Can't remember who they have, but it's definitely a tougher matchup.
I haven't looked into it. I don't want to look too far into it, but Drinky to Turbo is locked in. Yeah,
that's fair enough. I've got money in the bank from my trade last week, so as long as Iro's named, I'm pretty comfortable. I will be boosting this week. I'm gonna go. I'll get Iro in for Ben Travojevic, who's got a hamstring injury. Shock surprise. Another Travojevic with a hamstring injury. So he'll be out. So I think he'll be in the top 3 most traded out this week. We're not sure the severity, but I think the time it sucks because if he didn't have this injury, he's starting to make a little bit of cash now. And then I think I'm just going to hold on to Blaze. I'm not stressed on selling him yet. I think I'll sell Tua Picky over him because he's not forcing his way into that Warriors backline unless Chance gets injured. So I'll go Tua Picky to Tamari Martin as my third trade, like my boost. And yeah, he scored 70 and 90, and he'll have a lowest break even at 360K. That trade will cost me 40K, and I'll move straight back down to center. So I think that'd be a cash grab. And the Warriors have Dragons Titans. I nearly made the trade last week, but I think he'll be a popular buy this week. And then my bigger trade to cut you upside, I know you like this one, Sabs, will be Bostock. He'll be about 5-10K. I'll sell him up to Garrick while others will be scared of him. Love to go Lomax, but I'm going to go Garrick. I'm not worried about that high break even against the Titans, and I think that'll be a pod play.
I like it. Maybe how the Titans performed today. Maybe the Garrick trade-in isn't so urgent, though.
No, it's not so urgent, but I think that they're going to be crucial after 14. I'm going to want Garrick at some point, and it doesn't seem to matter who he versus. He scores pretty well. So although he's got the really high break even, you like to play aggressive. I still want to keep bouncing up, so I want to just keep doing moves that's different to everyone else. And if I fall on my face, I won't. But like that's usually how I catch up. So I'll also closely look at Lomax. But if I want those other two guys, I think that'd price me out of him. I'd have to not get Tamari. But yeah.
I'm definitely looking at Garrick. Garrick's the type of move that I think is the move to make.
It's a kind of play that I know you'd make for sure, and it's a play where it's a goal kicking center. That high break even is going to scare him off, while there's all these other attractive buys because we'll go over them in the teams, but there are some real attractive buys this week. There's a few low end mid rank center wings that are going to start making some money. All right, let's go over the first game. I know it's late on a Sunday, so it's not trying to drag it out. First game. This was a good game of footy, to be fair. The Knights versus the Roosters. Roosters getting up 22-20. Big one, you brought in Ponga this week, didn't you, Saz, for 91?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, Adam Elliott with 100. Yeah, Ponga, he just looks pretty safe. And to be fair, I know you like playing fullback roulette. I really don't like to do it, as I like to try and make other moves. But to me, Ponga and Drinky just seem so solid to have back there. And even with Hastings inside, he's starting to come into his own. So he's been very handy. Kaipius Paul, we're waiting for the attacking stat to get an 80-plus score, and we got it this round. He looked amazing. Really, other than that, Dylan Lucas proves yet again a pretty decent base with the 55. But Frizzell isn't too far away from what we're hearing. Jaden Brayley with only 42, but I just want to mention the fact that he played an extended amount of minutes and Phoenix Crossland come onto the field and jumped into lock. So it's important to note that obviously if he can keep up these minutes, maybe it's a little bit of a value pick if you are looking for a low-end hooker, but I don't think there'd be too many looking for that. Moving to the other side, Daniel Tupou keeps flying under the radar. 2 weeks ago, I was on the podcast, really keen on Manu. And Barnesy said I'd prefer Tupou over him as a bit of a pod play for a little bit of a cheaper price. And he nailed it. But Manu's gone just as good. So either way, they both would be good options. But Tupou does this every year, just flies under the radar and goes bang. 130 is a massive score for that ownership.
I'm not a massive Tupou guy. I've never been interested in him, but 4 line breaks and 2 tries. He needs a lot to get that sort of score.
But he tends to do it.
Probably only get one other ton this year.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, he's had a pretty good patch the past couple of weeks. Joey Manu, bought him by the masses, 117. I was just too scared not to have something on Drinky, otherwise he would have been my VC. And I probably would have looped it, to be fair. But tends to kill it. He's not going to be in fullback next week. They play the Storm, but I was so keen on Manu 2 weeks ago. Just for the fact that they played the first 2 big buy rounds and the price is kind of right. And he just looks so good at those starting rounds. We're just waiting for more attacking stats to come consistently. And even him going back to center, I'm not too worried. Is Tedesco guaranteed to come back this week? No, but he probably will come back. But, they got to win on the weekend. Manu looked good back there. They don't need to rush him, I feel. But
no,
he's their captain. Terrell May, what a beast, 86.
You got that try assist added on.
Yep, which was fair. I know a lot of people are complaining about it. Some people might agree, some people might disagree, but
I think if you played long enough, you know that it's probably going to get updated.
Yeah, like he's a bit of a seesaw at the moment, but he's just such a like you just play him each week because this guy can churn at 80 so easily and he gets in and amongst it and he's good to own. Like he's someone that I'm gonna have there, even if he becomes my third front rower. I've got no worry about him. Other than that, a lot of high scorers are probably the big one, Angus Crichton. I'd love to be able to get him in next week, but I don't think I can afford it, which is why I go to Murray. A score of 79. He's playing 80 minutes. Even though Tupanua went down injured, he was the first guy. He wasn't getting subbed off for Tupanua. Nat Butcher was. Although Robbo likes to play a bit of roulette, but at that price point, probably cost you about 440K. He's going to have two big scores in that rolling average. Next week's the week to jump on, and I think he could be, if he continues these minutes, a safe hold through the rest of the year, or at least be a nice segue to a higher end guy. I think I'm going to regret skipping him, but you can't have all these other guys, and he's going to be mass brought in so I can make other moves while I can't. My second row is pretty good, and I know you're on the same boat as me, Sabs. You've got a good second row too.
Yeah, for me, with Angus Crichton, like 79 points, he's the type of guy that I feel like if I miss out on, I'm going to death ride him all year and feel really shit watching him. But my second row is too good to prioritize getting him in. Like, it's so awkward. I feel like I'm going to miss him, but at the same time, like I'd even sell Elias Katoa to him to make a bit of cash. Like I know I only just got Elias Katoa in, but he's the type of guy who I think can, like only 2 years ago, he was our first pick in the second rows. If he's back to that form, then there's no saying what he can do at 450K. I don't want to be buying him at 700K. It could happen. It could happen.
I guess the key thing here is if you're not doing that, then what are you doing? And I hate, I would not do the Alessi Katoa to him, but
but I even like, I'm not going to do it, but it was something that crossed my mind that just made me think. I'm not doing it though.
Yeah, and the fact is, like, I know a Fuiaki to him is very tempting, but realistically, I think, they've got, after they face the Sharks and Penrith, their draw becomes okay again, and he plays that buy round. And I feel like being patient with Fuiaki and playing him on the right matchup, he's going to have that streak where he starts scoring a few more tries and he'll bump up. I know his base is horrible, but I think he can pay dividends. I'm hoping that. I just feel like I've got a lot more to do to worry about doing that. So Sam's talking about selling Katoa 3 days after buying him.
Got him 2 weeks ago, so I got that 100. So it doesn't feel as bad. I'm not selling him though.
Look, Sabs loves his roulettes, but it's very successful. But as you'll learn later in the year, it does have negatives. If
you can't do it in every position, though, you can't do it in every position.
Nah, hell no. You got to do it in the high end with lots of competition. Why it's successful in the fullback. Moving on. Look, a lot of these Roosters scored pretty high. Obviously, the downfall here is Tupanua. He's like 100% a sell with free. And I jumped off a couple of weeks ago, felt like it was the right time, but he's just become a nightmare for owners. So, time to get off. Him to Crichton makes the most sense if you haven't already done that trade. Over to you, Savs.
Yeah, he loses money. Are we going the next game, are we?
Yeah, unless you've got anyone else that I didn't mention.
Not really. I think actually one thing to mention, Greg Marju, I don't know where he is on this list, but played on the right side. He scored 40 points. Doesn't look as tempting on the right side, eh?
Yeah, no, I didn't mention, but I think it's good for now because he had that break even of 130, and if he can drop into 680 and start getting more involved, or they start shifting to his side, then it'd be hard not to grab someone like him in, especially when they play like the buy round. So he's someone you've got to have on your watch list, and getting him in at the right time will be key. I think this year the keys are these center wings. There's just so many of the good options, but they're all costing you a bit of money. So it's all about jumping on them the right moment when they have a bit of a form of injury, like example with Garrick. You're just going to have to kind of get on at the right point.
Yeah, we've got a couple of questions here. Any Penrith fans have inside info on Taylor May for next week? No, we don't.
Don't have any inside mail, but the mail that's pretty common knowledge is we believe it to be not performance-based. And there are all of these other rumors that he posted a video on Facebook speeding down a highway, which he doesn't think Taylor. Love him as a player, doesn't think. But they wouldn't be surprised if he was getting stood down for that. But very keen to see who comes in for him. If you have him, I tend to hold because To be honest, I've got him on my watch list. I will want to grab him back for a nice run of form when Cleary comes back. He's gonna come into. I think that'll be a good move while everyone's scared and jumping off. But I think someone like it'll be Alamotti, McLean, or they might go back to the old reliable Peachy. But I'm keen to see Alamotti in a Panthers jersey. I think he'll kill it.
Yeah, me too. But that will only be a 1 week thing. So if you have him, 100%. It's annoying, but you've already held for a week. But if you need to do it to make moves, I understand. Coop Sav rattled. Little rattled today. Moving on to the Storm versus the Bulldogs. This was, a lot of people put a lot of faith into the Storm players, expecting a big score from them. Harry Grant, I was expecting big things from. Pappy, we're expecting big things from. But the top scorer here was Josh Addo-Carr with a hat-trick, 162 points. You told me at the start of the week he was going to be the highest scoring player. I would have said you're wrong. And that is ridiculous. 17 people actually traded him in, which is crazy.
That left side looks so good for the Bulldogs, and although they look so good and then they look so poor like instantly after, the fact that they can have these runs, I am interested in some of their guys from their left side at the right price because they can score some points, man. They can, or they even like just the line breaks and stuff like that. Like, look at that, all their left scorers this game. They're the top 4 scorers.
Well, yeah. Moving on to one of their left scorers, Bronson Sherry. Scores 31 in his first game, but 87 points on the weekend. He looks so good. Like his tip onto Addo-Carr just seems like him off kick out. I think they're going to pepper sides all year. Like, does he keep that spot though? Like, especially if Taff comes back?
That's what would be scared to not buy him. I'd want to see Taff back and where Taff goes before jumping on. I did look at him instead of Tamari Martin, but obviously Tamari Martin's job security is a bit better and the Warriors draw is a bit better. But I think he's someone that might get a little bit pushed back this week, like a lot of other people to go the Eros and all other things that he's not going to be brought in as much as other people, but I think he could be a nice moneymaker. I see him being a 500K center wing if he holds his spot. And the Bulldogs have the Knights and the Tigers over the next 3 weeks, but they do have a bye in round 8. So their bye is coming up. So that is also something that makes you go, but
Sherry at 345K, it's not too bad.
No, it's a good price. The price is right. It's just, how's his job security? Like, he played good enough last week, and they played really good against the Storm side, I thought. So it'd be hard to make mass changes. I kind of liked how their back line looked.
Oh, it looked really good. Tracy at the back, like 29 SuperCoach points for Tracy, but he played way better than that. I think he's definitely locked down a spot in the 17, potentially, maybe even as an interchange. But Kickout scores 81 points. Timmy, I was watching the game with Timmy, and he was just saying he regrets not getting Kickout because he looks like he is the best mid-ranger to come out of all the mid-rangers we've pretty much sold now. Kickout's the one that's actually kicking on, which is crazy because
out of all the ones we started with, I guess
he was the last.
His scores better, but
Matt Burden, 5'8" and halfback. I had a question on one of the Q&A podcasts last week. Do I get Matt Burden in as a cash grab? He scored 147 last week. Break even of minus 33. Now he scored 79 points.
It's almost 100K.
That's a mad play. That's such a good
play. I highly considered it over Hughes, but I was like, I think I want a top end one. It's risky. If he comes out and scores 30, he was facing the Storm. Like, that's what scared me off. But it goes sometimes it doesn't really matter on the matchup because now that's a good position. And he now becomes a great stepping stone to Cleary because in 2 weeks, so he's got round 7, you'd probably sell him in round 8 because then they come back, play Tigers and Penrith. So I'd be wanting to sell for that game against Penrith and then unless he has a blinder against his old club. But it's definitely a good play for those that done it last week.
For sure. For Melbourne, Cameron Munster, top scores, looks like he's back. The 5'8" has been an absolute wasteland, but they all performed this week, didn't they?
Yeah, which is showing a bit more options now. And I think that's why I'm very keen on making sure I have a stepping stone to get one of these guys. And Strange is starting to make money. When Galvin comes back, he's starting to do so. So there looks like, we're starting to make some good cash now. And it'll be interesting to see what people can do with it because we had to spend a bit of extra cash at the start of the year because there wasn't any bottom dollars. But now we're going to be rewarded for that patience, and it's now what you do. Like how many of those guys you have, and what you do with it.
Sean Bloor scores a try for 87 with a break-even of 33. Looks like he goes up to nearly 500K. I hate to say it. A lot of us are Joe Chan holders. I think he might have won the spot.
Yeah, I don't see it. Like, although they didn't play crazy good, those two look to be like, if I was the coach, I'd be picking those two. And that's how we believed it to be. And it just sucks for Chan because he hasn't even got that game to play the break even. Can he force himself on the bench at some point? Maybe. But at that low price, how he's hard to sell at the moment unless we get a bottom dollar second rower. He's going to be very, very hard to move on. And that's why I'm kind of more interested in getting rid of Tua Picky. And I think it's a week where you got to start getting rid of these guys that aren't making money because the more of these guys that you hold, you got to have good cash gen.
Yeah. And also we're at the moment, we're getting a lot of good cheapies come on like Schiller. We've got Iro next week. If you're constantly downgrading people to make money, yeah, it's good because you're upgrading elsewhere, but you're also holding on to a lot more deadwood in case you do have deadwood. Like there's the Blaze Stalungis who are sitting there, the Joe Chans that are sitting there. You've probably got another front row and not making money. Like you're going to end up with a lot of nuffs if you don't eventually move one of these guys on when a good cheapie comes along. So something to think about for sure. Ryan Pappenhausen got sent from the field for 10 minutes, scored a try very early. I was very scared as a non-owner, but 75 points, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad when he's got that first try. It's like, here's a 150 coming up. And unfortunately with the fullbacks, you can only have two, and every week where you don't own the other ones, it's very scary.
Yeah, Katoa massively bought in this week by 7,800 people, 42 points. I would say that's his floor. They just weren't going that side. I'm very happy to hold and just see how he goes. He's got massive upside.
We got him for a reason. Don't forget also getting him last week. We got him for 28K cheaper and we banked that massive score last week. So I'm not disappointed at all. As I said, after they play the Roosters, they've got the Bunnies and then the Titans. So those games are going to be perfect for him.
Very nice. Moving on to the next game, I guess.
Yeah, let's start. We're taking a bit too long. Let's pump through.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you do this one. Oh, right, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Cobbo top scores with 85, 2 tries. Is he an option coming up?
Oh, I keep saying no and no, but look, the Broncos look good, man. Even with all these players that they have out, they look good.
So he loses money this week. He goes down to about 560, and he has a draw of the Raiders, the Tigers, the Roosters, Parramatta, Manly, Gold Coast.
That's a good run. That'd be a really good pod play, but he just worries me because he disappears a lot.
Yeah, he's a pretty good price too. Like 560 is a lot better than all these other options we're looking at who are nearly 700K. So
yeah,
like especially for myself, I'm not going to be able to get like a Garrick or a Lomax next week. Maybe Selwyn's the kind of guy I got to look at.
Well, for people that have Bostock and don't want to break the bank, and if you really like Angus and you need a bit of money to upgrade Angus, that's only a 60K or 40 to 50K investment instead of 200K to go to one of these higher. So it's like I can understand the appeal. And as I still look at that, and I'm like, nah, I really want the other guy.
Yeah.
Mainly in my team, you've got Holmes now. I don't have that. So I kind of looking at what I need, and I want a goal kicking high end center wing, but that price is very juicy.
Yeah. Bostock goes over for a try, scores 53 points, so he'll make about 40K, and I'm pretty sure he'll be maxed out at 520, so I think the time to sell will be next week. And like as you said, 40K from Bostock to Cobbo, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's been such a good buy from the start. He's going to net just under 200K. I believe he's the kind of guy that if you do have patience with him, he'll reward you with these big games, and I can see him going to 600K at some point. But with the break even getting a bit higher and all the options coming up is what makes me want to jump off. But in saying that, I have considered a little sloping of holding because the Dolphins are the only team that play every single bye round, and he could be huge in those 3 bye rounds. So that did cross my thought because I look at the rest of that Dolphins team. It's like, I don't want anyone else from that Dolphins team. I think you want to try and get one for that bye period, but I don't really like anyone at this stage, but it's something to consider.
For sure. Xavier Willison goes over for a try, scores 80 points. His price changes this week. He goes up massively. He probably goes up 60K. It's going to be hard to get him in at 320.
It's hard to get him in at 3. Like a Henry to him wouldn't be so bad. But look at all these other. Next week's a huge trading week. There's so many guys to jump on. I can't fathom spending it on a front roll, but man, like it's like yet again the one that got away, because if this guy stays in the side, he's just so big that he can score. But Takura scores last week, and then they switch Wilson. Like he's playing a bit of roulette with him, but the kid's a gun. He's a gun.
Yeah. Oh, I'd be so happy to have him in my front row. Like I've got Corey Jensen in there at the moment, who scores 47 every week. Like he updated to 47. No, he got 47. Didn't even update. He scored 47 last week, 41, 48 in the last few weeks. Like, it'd be nice to downgrade to him, but I just can't justify doing the trade. Like, it's such a shit trade to get the same amount of points in the front row. Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow goes off for 4 points. I love this because I don't own him. He's owned by 60% of the top 1%, and he's owned by 40% of SuperCoaches. How do you see this? And do you own him?
No, I don't own him. And there was that week where I really couldn't afford it because I had to do something else. And although I missed some big scores, now I kind of go, sweet. Now people are going to be jumping off him. And a lot of them will make, him to Lomax might be quite popular, or someone might go down to Iro to go boom elsewhere. But as an non-owner, happy because he's such heavily owned. And I think that also, if you didn't have him, it gave you a bit of an upside to get around the 1,200 this week.
I actually don't love that he got injured because he's actually made so much money that a lot of owners could go to anyone. He actually loses money again, so he goes down to about 700. But
you can go to any center wing from there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Him to Lomax would be 50K.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Not much else doing here. I guess we'll move on to the Warriors Seagulls game.
Yeah, I was going to get you to do all the Saturday, but I'll jump into this one, then I'll leave the next few for you. So the Warriors Manly won a draw. Nearly saw 2 draws this round, which is quite crazy. Yeah. And Manly were all over him, Sabs, and then the Warriors come back strong. Chance Nickel Clogstack. Now, I want to point something out. He's also someone that I considered over Garrett because he's going to stay as a pod. 2 games in now, and he's gone 88 and 96. And the craziest stat here is no try assist, no try. He got 1 line break. The massive thing is 50 points in hit up. And I don't think people, I looked at that and I don't think people were looking at it. Because when I saw 98, I go, how the hell did he get points? 50 points in hit. Yes, he played an extra 10 minutes. But that stat yet alone, like, come on, that could be the best base in it. I don't know if you can, but if you go back to last week, same thing. His work rate is so high. And their run of games, he plays the Titans.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Like, the thing is, like, there's so many Warriors that are really appealing, and I really considered it over Garrick. And look, his break-even is going to be more appealing. I'm not saying that I'm not going to go in, but the fact I'm already picking up Tamari, man. I don't want to stack on too many Warriors. I see, look, now your alarm's going in your head, and like you're like, shit, Chance. I'm telling you,
I can't do it.
Afford it. Like, look, I'd probably go Garrick over and still, but he really, I'm telling you, that stat is ridiculous. That's crazy that he scored. He scores a try there. It's 120 plus.
I know. I had a lot of questions about him last week, and I pretty much said, yeah, I like him, but you just can't over these high upside guys. But if he's basing that in that Warriors side, like tries are going to come. He got 40 points in hit-ups last week, 57 in hit-ups this week with 18 points in tackle bust. So that's 75 points just in base and tackle breaks.
He's done it in 2 weeks, and he cost you an arm and a leg, but at least going someone over him to like a Garrick or such is he's going to come with a low break even.
His fullback
injury history worries me. Yeah, his injury. Yeah, there you go. He's only fullback. Yeah, keep forgetting that he's not a center wing this year. But
if he was center wing, I'd be all over.
Oh yeah, you'd be all over. But the fact that he's only even at fullback, it'd be hard to grab him in. But the thing is, man, like a little play over the next 3 weeks could be absolutely. You'd have to have some balls to do it, right?
I think if Ponga is ruled out with that hip injury, we didn't even talk about Ponga in the first game. 91 points.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to most of the time. Everyone knows, but if Ponga is ruled out at all, like maybe Chance is the guy to go to.
Yeah, he might be, but I guess also like if I was then considering that he was out for a bit, I'd probably go to Tom. Like you're looking at Tom as well. Like he's playing the Titans, it'd be hard not to go past him, but Chance could pay dividends. Over to SJ, as I said earlier, was on absolutely nothing and just come home strong. Starting to score some tries, still kicked with that niggle. He was good. Dallin, I know you were so hot on Dallin. He paid dividends too, 91. Tohu, 84. A lot of Warriors scoring huge here. AFB, 76. And as I mentioned before, Tamari Martin at 72. At 360K, he's going to have a very low break even. And as I said, with that break even, he's going to be considered. It's a cheap price. I saw him last week and I didn't think he could recreate it. He's getting some attacking stats, but at 360K, like, he could be nice. He's got a really nice draw coming up. Make some good money and then shift him up to a month or like, Cody Walker if you think the Bunnies are going to research. RTS at 50. I saw your posts on the SuperCoach experience saying that is he a sell? 620K. There's a lot of good options, but he's got such a good draw coming up. You can't sell him. It's too risky.
My issue is their dominant side is their right-hand side. And I feel like the like we saw last week, I mean, he still scored 50, not doing too much, but he's having really strong carries, and that's all he's doing. When they're playing the easier opponents, the strong carries aren't needed as much, so his base is going to go down a little bit. And if he doesn't have the upside, is he going to be that guy? Like Adam Pompey last year was their left center. He did not average well at all. I know Roger's a different player, and I see more attacking stats coming for him, but their right side is the dominant side. So I think someone like RTS won't have the upside with this easy draw, and I am worried that the attacking stats don't come his way when we're expecting them to.
Yeah, it's a fair play. I just think with other worries, like that'd be something I'd want to do. Yeah. I'd see myself selling him before the bye. Obviously, bringing these guys in Manly, don't play the bye. Like, I know you might think it's far away, but it's coming up fast. Like,
yeah,
you got to like it's just like people like Lomax and all that. If you don't have some of these guys playing that first bye, like have it like there's going to be like him, Manu. Like if you don't have so many of these center wings, these are the guys that I think are going to help you score massive in those rounds. So I am always thinking about that, even though it's early. I always have that in the back of my mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Over the side to Manly, Cherry Evans killed it again. He played great. Tom's starting to, just be pretty consistent with an 80. You'd be happy by that. Tommy Talau with a 77. His break even was 52 currently.
So it goes to 300-ish.
Then he'll have the 15 roll of his rolling average, and then he'll have a 21 sitting in there with that score.
And then he'll have the nice draw.
Yes, look, there's so many options this week, and like he could pay dividends, but his base is so low. And look, if we didn't have a plethora of these other options, and maybe you could take a punt if it helps improve your side, but I can't do it. Olukwatu just keeps doing a job. If we get a try, it's 80 plus. He's solid. Ben Travoy. Oh, sorry, Sabs, go.
Olukwatu, I think he's absolutely shifted a gear this year. Like last year, he'd get no attacking stats and score 38 to 45. But this year, his floor is probably like 55, I reckon. He's just so good.
He's got a ceiling too. Like he's the kind of second rower that could score 2 tries and easily get you over a ton and just breaks the line. So he's just too big, and he'll be a season-long hold for me. And he'll, the fact that when they have their bye games, he'll be huge for those. You'll definitely want to have him.
He averaged 60 points in the first 12 rounds. He scored 5 tries in that, and he only averaged 60. He's doing that without the tries. So
which is huge, yeah.
Huge.
And his ownership's not huge either, which is crazy. Ben Travojevic, I mentioned it before, hamstring injury. This will make him a pretty popular sell. Even if it was a couple of weeks, it's time to go for Ben. He's been great. Time to go from him. Luke Brooks, 49. Maybe you might start looking to sell, but other than that, no one else really from Manly I'm looking at. They do play the Titans next week. The Titans are starting to look a bit better, so it might not be as easy a game as you think, but I still think, the defense, they can leak some points. So a team like Manly can absolutely butcher them.
Oh, are they playing at home next week?
Good question.
I'd love to see if they get some 4 points. Then Manly is a shoe-in for sure.
Oh, yeah, 100%. They play the Titans. No, it's Seabus.
Dry truck there still.
Yeah. Like, look, I definitely, if I consider a Gary captain. That's for sure. All right.
5:30 Saturday. That's a good time slot.
It is a really good. I like captain in that game. I feel like that's
me too.
Right in the middle. Go for it, Savs. Next game.
The next game, Eels versus Cowboys. I was very excited as a Drinky owner, Drinky captainer in the first 2 minutes when he gave a try assist to Kyle Felt, but then it got turned back because of the stupid obstruction rule with the bloody halves sitting in tight and then running out and running into a player. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But he went on. He still got really involved, 2 try assists and a try. But for 61, that's exactly what Drinkwater does, though. So he is involved in the side. 61, I'll take it. Valentine Holmes top scored, though, with a try for 73. But this was a good game after the first 20 minutes. It was real scrappy in the first 20, 30 minutes. But the second half was really good. Robson 54, Finney Fuaki 47. So if you invested heavily in Cowboys like myself, underwhelming just a little bit. You would have liked all their scores to be maybe 10 more at least, but at least they didn't go like what's called Finney Fuaki was on like 8 at halftime. Robson was on 7 for like the first half.
Holmes was low as. He got saved by that try. Like he really did. And with Drinky, like, he didn't have any line break try assists, and his try didn't have a line break. So if he did have it for all there's another like 35 points, and you've got a captain of above 90.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Like this game just didn't work out for me. But on the other side of the park, Dylan Brown, 86 points.
Sold him.
You sold him. When did you sell him?
I sold him to basically Hughes. I like downgraded, I got Schiller in, then I upgraded to Hughes to get rid of Walker, which I can't blame myself. But he updated heaps. He was on like 63. He went up like 25 points and
62. Yeah.
Yeah, see, he updated hugely, but at the same time, like, I don't regret it in the sense because my team's going to get stronger by making that move. I can make my center wing better next week. And he's still like, this side's going to be up and down like a yo-yo, but I just don't feel like his ceiling's as high as what it was. And I'm not worried not owning him.
He's that type of guy. And I think if you've got other issues, he's a fine sell. But this is kind of what we expected from him on a week-to-week basis. So 86, I'm pretty happy with. Definitely held him, and he's quite lowly owned. He's like 20% owned. Gutherson, 84, just does what Gutherson does. Lussick, 72 points, scored a try. Nearly went over for another.
Yeah, which could have been almost a ton. So kind of reward. A lot of guys went him to Harry Grant this week. I was stuck doing other things. Didn't play him, but I guess now that's going to help generate a bit of cash again to give you some options. But to be honest, I'm not going to really be trading in the hooker position if I don't have to, because he might be handy come the first buy round. Plays the first buy round, but obviously, I guess everything's about timing.
Tom Dearden's another 5'8" option who scored 63. He has to do a lot to kind of get that. Tom Chester scored 62 points at 350k. Not a
try.
Yeah, not someone for classic, but he scored 40 and 63 in consecutive weeks. But I actually bought him in my draft comp, and I had Justin Olam as starting center. I sold Olam to Sevo, and I got the auto emergency for Chester. So I thought that was a pretty smart play.
Yeah, I don't hate Chester as a buying classic, but yet again, there's just so many options. I prefer Sherry over him.
Fullback over.
Oh, he's not a center. Yeah, so just can't be a classic option.
And
so round 12, he might go to center. I know, but it'll still be too late by then. But yeah, he should.
But he'll be there for the rest of the season. So if you do have a draft comp, plug him in there. You'll be able to play him in center eventually.
If he does start to miss the form, they've got plenty of options in the back line with the likes of Villar, but Semi Villar, they've got plenty of options.
Bryce Cartwright, 26 points. Break even of 121, so he will lose quite a bit of money, like 60K. So maybe in a couple of weeks, he's going to be an option. But with that rib, maybe that's going to hinder him for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I wouldn't be going near him. I think there'll be a lot of other second rows that I'd rather target. Like, these guys like Wilton and Young just keep scoring tries. I want to kind of go for the guy next that's going to go on that run and score some tries. And even Fafita's going to always be on your radar too.
Sharks versus the Rabbitohs. The Rabbitohs actually came out and showed some fight in this one. Nicho Hynes, the most popular captain option at 82 points. I think, is it safe to say Hynes is not what he has been?
Yeah, like we've been waiting, and I do think he'll have that one game where he'll go, wow. Yeah. But it's now getting to the position where if Hughes outperforms him, I might keep Hughes and then have Cleary. Yeah. Like, he might be my stepping stone to him that, he's not looking crazy. The Trindle is having an effect on him, and that is 100% the case. But he still hasn't scored a try. He's not getting that many try assists. Like, for me, like, I think you got to have a bit of faith. His draw is getting a bit harder too, which is a bit scary. I think from here, I'll be very scared captaining him. We got saved by a try assist at the death. Otherwise, he was on 60. He got that kick try assist that bumped him up in the last minute. Otherwise, It'd be a different story. So I'm very scared captaining him. I think I've captained him twice already, and I've been semi-disappointed both times. So he's starting to scare me off the sea.
I think it's safe to say that he's not going to be that guy that averages 95. I think he will have the big scores, but I don't think he's like the set and forget captain when it's like, and also when Cleary does come back, like I've got SJ. I think SJ and Cleary, especially while SJ's got a good run, is a better combination than going Hynes and Cleary. I'm just not loving what I see from Hynes, and I think that they're winning games. They're on top of the comp at the moment. I'm pretty sure they're first. So they're not going to change the way they're playing because they're winning games.
Yeah, they're winning some tight contests, but they're finding a way to win the games. You're exactly right. Although you might say their draw's a bit tough. That'll be interesting to see how they go against these tougher teams. But yeah, I don't hate it. I wouldn't be trading him out now, but when Cleary comes back, I would understand people jumping from him. But as I said, I think he's got a big game in him. Maybe not as big as what we've seen him do, but that ton's coming.
Mind you, he had a quiet game and scored 82 points. Like, that's still good.
But especially halfback's been pretty desolate.
Yeah, for sure. And in my opinion, I think that they've addressed the issue. You know how they're always called flat track bullies, that they didn't win any finals games in the last 2 years, but made the finals. Like, they didn't win any games. I think this style of play is helping them beat the better sides. So it's not just like target Hynes. Target Hynes is the play because they'll choke. I think this is what they're doing to nullify that.
Yeah, and not just go, shit, Hynes going to do everything. So from a Sharks perspective, it makes a lot of sense, but that is also could be a reason why he could, might not be the guy, like the jump off could work out for you.
Yeah. Mulatalo, 110. He's in good form this year. Like, if you jump on, I didn't think it was a great play, but he's actually kicked on since then.
Yeah, continues to rise in money, 730K, break even at 55. Will keep going up, and these biggest scoring games are coming more than often, and it comes through a tougher patch, but yeah, he's absolutely killing it, and you can see him being one of the top try scorers this year for sure with how he's going.
I heard you and Barnesy talking on his podcast the other week talk about Hazleton after his night.
That was Barnesy's shout, yeah.
Barnesy was talking about Hazleton. He played 50 minutes the week after for 51 points. He's come out again and scored 54 points in a good amount of minutes. He has a -7 break even, so congrats if he did jump on. Kailaro, 46 points. Talakai off the bench, 24 points. I think just by the way I saw Talakai play, like, Iro's a natural center. I think they keep things there.
Yeah, they got it. He looks good, and we knew that this guy was too good to be playing in reserve grade. And the fact he's been so patient there, like, he's just the kid's a gun. And to be honest, if he keeps that spot, he looks to be a safe play most weeks. Like, I know a bit of an attacking set there, but he's to be honest, like, it wouldn't surprise me him turning up sooner or later because he's just got that play style for it. So, hoping that nothing crazy from Craig Fitzgibbon, and he'll be the number one most traded in player this week.
For sure. On the other side of the park, Hawkins top scores. Jason Demetriou seems like he's going to keep his job, and Peter Mamazelis was the second top scorer, 13 points in his first game, 73 points in his second game. If he gets named next week, is he an option for Danny Levi?
Cook's going to come back at some stage, but Mamazelis looked so good, but the Cook factor will be enough to scare me off. They didn't win the game still, and look, very cheap. If you really know who is cheap, that Cook factor would scare me. How long is he going to be keeping up his minutes, and how long till Cook burns him? But he's cheap.
Yeah. I think if it was any other hooker in the competition with any other backup sitting on the bench,
he'd be a savior. Yeah,
but
he's
a good player. So,
but very hard to really touch any of the other Souths players at the moment. I guess Tyrell Munro got injured, so we've redone his collarbone, so he's going to be out for an extended period again.
Yep. Cody Walker, 34 points, goes down to 540K. It's about the time where we pick him up every year. Not too far away from that.
Yeah, they go on the bye now, and then he comes back to Storm and Penrith. So that kind of would scare you off. But after that, Dragons, Cowboys, Para, before they go back on the bye, like, as I was saying before, like a Tamari runner and Ethan Strange to him could make you some money. So, like, you've got to keep him on the radar, because if the Bunnies do bounce back, and we haven't seen full signs of him, but that Jai Gray seemed like a natural football. And I know he's not going to keep the trial out for so long, but they've got to find a way to get him involved in there.
Yeah, well, they might. The drums are beating for Latrell to go to center. Like, I don't know, Latrell will be happy to do that, but Jai Gray's 5'8" only. It could be like a Galvin to Jai Gray in like 2 weeks because they have the bye.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like, with them going so bad, if this is a team that's going to turn around later, this is a team full of opportunity of SuperCoach value. Which will work, and of course, like if you can get a bargain guy there before they go on a nice run, that's going to help you be able to target other things. So definitely put a couple of these guys on your watch list, and Cody Walker's one I'm just a sucker for always considering him.
Very good. That's it for the Saturday games.
So over to the Sunday, the Dragons versus the Tigers. Kapoa top scores of this one. Atoika Manu. So on the same podcast with Barnesy where he brought up Tom Hazelton, the guy I brought up was Atoika Manu. And since he's done that, he's gone absolutely gangbusters. And that try that Appy Coruscant set up today, he's a mastermind at hook. That pass was incredible. It was so quick. And Atoika Manu is getting attacking stats, and he's killing it. Coruscant, it's been pretty average since bringing him in, but at the same time, like, I don't really have to worry of him in there. I feel he'll have a big game against Penrith next week. Loves playing Penrith. And, like, having your hooker for the price you get him for, scoring around that, but, like, I can deal with that. I can deal with that for now. That is fine. It can be a segue to Grant later if you're not, like, unhappy with it, but I don't think it's a big drama. Rest of the Tigers scored pretty poorly. They played pretty poorly in this one and just showing yet again their inconsistency. But yeah, there's no really one else standing out here. I guess Olam with the 37 and showing people that jumped on. For Tape, yet again, just absolute mud as a bargain option.
Week after scoring a double last week.
Yeah, it's a bit depressing. Zach Lomax. Oh my God, bro. Like, I know Timmy's got him, and jumping on him early and even starting with him is price. He's killing it. Score of 100 last week, 83 this week. Gonna cost you over 750, and he'll have a lower break even yet again. Like, definitely considering him. They play Panthers in the bye, which is the perfect time to play Penrith.
Oh, yeah.
Big, VC option for that one. Like, he's just someone that you like. Season-long hold, and he looks so good at the wing. And even though with all these contract negotiation, all these things about the Eels, he's still trying really hard, and he just contests all the time. And I really wanted him last week, but just couldn't make it happen, and got worried about getting rid of Hughes instead. But yeah, solid option, and I think he's definitely worth his price tag.
Yeah, I think he is too. And I think I've been looking at him in a different light. Not a different light yet, but the penny clicked today with me. Last year, Ravalawa had a career year, 59 points on that right wing. He scored 21 tries. And I think Lomax has gone into the prime position for the St. George side, who they don't really have many prime positions, but that right wing is hot property for them. And Zach Lomax is the guy who I don't think he's even scratched the surface of what a big game is for him yet. I think there's a massive game coming. Like Ravalawa, he had 2 doubles last year. He had a triple, and he also had a game where he had 4 tries. So I think that massive game is coming for Zach Lomax, and I think you just got to get him in, no matter what price he is, no matter who he's playing. Just get him into your side when you can.
Yeah, Warriors, Roosters, Sharks, Bunnies. Then he goes into his bye, but then he covers the all-important 13 and 14, which is also slept on because there's quite a few people, like teams off in that round too. And then also will cover you by round number 19. So realistically, I guess if I can make it happen next week, I guess him versus Garrick will be an interesting one because I really want to own Lomax, and I agree with you, Savs. He's got a 150 score in him easily.
Mm-hmm.
He's very scary to not own. I guess what makes it better is he's not highly owned. Hammer to him this week will be it will be
a great
lot of
trade.
people have to. Yeah. If I had Hammer, that is a no-brainer. I'm going him to Lomax. 100%. Other than that, like Sewer did really good. Not massive SuperCoach options here yet. No one's really jumping. Like Ben Hunt's been pretty average. No one's really jumping out here. Everyone's kind of. It's just Lomax is just really above and beyond.
Lomax just killing it.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like even in the tougher matchups, he's someone that you happily play. I mean, you're not worried as much against the tougher games because he's scoring pretty well. Raiders vs Titans. They nearly lost this one. Good game of footy. Went into extra time, some extra minutes there. The Raiders, man, like I undersold them, but their teams, like these young guys, are playing so good. And look, the Titans turned up today. They played. This is probably one of the better games that they played, and I feel sorry for them losing that one. But Fogarty, just what a super pod. I know Shanko jumped on him, and he's like at the price one, like he's killing it. Fogarty, Hudson Young, 95, trapped me last year, but he's got to just love scoring tries, man. He loves it.
And he's been doing it all year. 61, 50, 50 off. Not really, but he scored 83 last week. So
yeah, with the tries, I think now he scored a total of 3 tries this year. And it just like with the try, he scores you around 80, and their run. I believe that, as I said before, their run gets a bit harder now. Yeah, I was right. Broncos, Sharks, Manly. And they do play the bye round against the Dolphins. So, other than this one, Tapani's starting to warm up a little bit. Yes, they played basically 90 minutes because they won it with 10 seconds to go. So a lot of these forwards will be hiding with be a bit inflated. Otherwise, I think around 63-ish for Tapani. Schiller with a double. I don't think none of them were line break tries, so only 65. No. But without the tries, he's not getting it. But the more tries he scores, the better, because hopefully he keeps his spot. But that's going to be a big paycheck, and if he continues to play, which we're hoping he doesn't get kicked out for Hopewade, but there's nothing's in concrete that he's going to stay.
So via Jay Schubert on Twitter, 153,000 price rise with a negative line break even.
So yeah, he's going to be a nice cash grab. And even if he was to lose his spot, he's going to come back in at some point. And I'd be waiting to, he could be crucial in that buy round.
Yeah,
he's going to be another one. As soon as his breaking gets too high, you jump off because his base is so low. Another classic Bo stock one.
He looks good.
He looks so good, and he's scoring so many. He's the Raiders' leading try scorer at the minute. He's just natural footballer. Smithies, I know a lot of people jumped off. He's killing it with a 62. He's going to just be a hold. I'll hold him onto the buys. Like he's a pretty safe play again. I'm happy to play him most rounds, especially with Horsburgh getting re-injured. Ethan Stranger, 73. He's so good. He's so good to watch. He got a junk. He got 10 points in that last minute. He got some junk points in extra time. Basically, that run to me won them the game. It gave Fogarty the position to do that. If not, it was going to be a draw. He's just getting confidence each week. And to be honest, he's becoming such a safe play, especially in your center wing is that fourth spot. Probably won't play him against the Broncos, but he's got some attacking points in him. So he's definitely not a bad option. Tomoko's base has been pretty good. Stewart was had a pretty good first game. Hosking got injured in this one.
Still scored more than Levi though.
Yeah, which it's been the battle at who's been better over Levi and Lussick, and each week it's like a balancing act. One week it's like, Levi's, but nothing else, Lussick, and Lussick now holds favour at the minute because Levi hasn't scored a try this week. Over the other side, Randall with a 77, Brian Kelly 66, and Brian Kelly always seems to be an option. And I know I love to grab him in as a pod, and it's hard.
He's a good player, eh?
He's a good footballer, man. Very good footballer. Fafita with a 55. Like if his price keeps coming down, he's going to be tempting at some point. But they looked better with the lineup that they went with this time. But yet again, it's hard to really purchase a Titans player. Very hard. That's not a bottom dollar option.
It's funny, when Tino went down, I said to Timmy that Jolliffe or Fodawaker were going to kick off, and Jolliffe has kicked off 63, 55, and 95 since Tino's been out.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention Jolliffe. But, scored a try, but he's looked really good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, very good. Kind of that's all the games for this week. I know there's a lot of questions that we didn't get to. We're almost at the hour mark. Other than that, I don't know if you want to plug any more sabs about the premium stuff or.
Yeah, we have a premium group that is going around at the moment. Let me get the spiel. So pretty much it's it's not one-on-one team support, but we have a group and a community where if you have any questions about your team, you put them in the chat, and we've got like 4 or 5 experts commenting on it, and they're all pretty good opinions. We all tend to agree with each other because the first person to comment just tends to nail it every time. There's always heaps of different perspectives that we all give. We all try and get on there and give our opinions. There is a private chat group that will be on there. There's also priority for the Q&A podcasts, and an avenue for you to do voice messages for us to do on the Tuesday podcast as well. So if you want to be part of that, then flick us a message or hit up the supercoachexperience@gmail.com. It's $10 entry for this year. I think this year we're playing it pretty casual with how we do it. We've already made our first purchase of buying Jake a microphone. I did that the other day. So it's helping the show, and we're trying to grow the show. Mainly this one because it's for the guys like Mikey and Jake who do a lot of work, but want to get something out of it.
Yeah, look, I know a lot of people don't like all these premium stuff, and it's fine. Like either way, you're still going to get. We're not going to slack off at the content that we do regularly. If you don't want to do that, it's fine. But as I said, you've got Tim in there, you got Jake, you got us two, and then we got Hads, who's also doing pretty well, and we got Grant, part of the team too. So you get private voice records and stuff from us too. And we tend to agree. Don't forget, like most other super coaches, we're always in the inbox constantly talking and influencing each other. So it's a good chance for you to get amongst that. But other than that, thanks for jumping on, Savs. Oh, sorry, go.
And you also get a few live reactions of on Saturday. I was out at the pub, so I was sending voice messages in the group chat. You got live reactions of how I was feeling, and it's a nice little community. We want to grow it a bit more though this season. We're not going hard at it this season, but if you want to join, it's a nice little it's going to be a nice little thing, especially if you feel stuck every week and need personal support. Like you can always, if you're not in position to do it, just message us anyway. We'll try and get to it, but this means you get 5 guys prioritizing your message. So that's where the value lies.
Yeah, 100%. Or other than that, thanks for jumping on, Savs. Good luck for the ranking tomorrow. Let's hope you go up. Good luck to everyone else for next week. Don't forget to tune in with Savs and Timmy on Tuesday for your TLT, and then the following day for the On the Burst podcast.
What's the prediction?
The rank. What prediction? Your rank or?
Yeah.
I'm going to go 19, rank number 19. The lowest I think you'll drop to is 35. I think you enter the top 20.
Yeah, I think you're about right.
19 and maybe shock surprise, 11. I think the highest you go to is 11.
Yeah, I don't think I go up higher than that.
No, but yet again, I think 1204 is good. Yeah, thanks everyone, and we will catch you guys next week. See you later.